These crazy train collisions are almost gut-wrenching to watch and just go to show how a simple mistake can cost many lives. If you're ready to see some of the most jaw-dropping railway moments ever filmed, hit the subscribe button because we have the footage you would never believe. Goose Creek, South Carolina, September 2024.
Video right now, the exact moment that the train collided with the tank, all caught on video by our viewer, Jennifer Clinton. Well, Goose Creek police say they were called around.
Let's start the list off with something that sounds straight like an action movie or from a Grand Theft Auto game. September 2024, in Goose Creek, South Carolina, a tractor trailer was crossing train tracks while carrying an actual armored vehicle, a tank on its flatbed. However, the disaster struck here that changed everything. Dash cam footage from a nearby vehicle captures the whole thing. The train barrels forward, unable to stop in time, and absolutely destroys the trailer carrying the tank. There's metal everywhere, and the impact sent debris shooting across the road. Witnesses thought it was like a bomb going off somewhere, especially when there was a tank. Many people also panicked. Metal flying everywhere also panicked everyone. The collision forced both major roads to close temporarily, but the crazy part is that nobody actually got hurt. Not the truck driver, not the train crew, and nobody. You can watch the full dash cam video that was featured on ABC7 Los Angeles. The footage just shows how violent the impact was when thousands of tons of moving trains met military hardware that was built for so much impact. Series of Texas collisions.
Train truck accident in far west Texas. It happened in Pecos yesterday. The truck was stopped on the tracks.
But now we have something far more serious. Texas seems to be a particular place for train mishaps. We don't know if it's about people or how it's designed. The most interesting part is that most people have their phones ready to record whenever things like this happen. Let's talk Pecos, Texas, in December 2024. This one's recent and it's absolutely wild. A tractor trailer gets stuck on the railroad tracks. We're talking about being completely stuck, and it couldn't even move. The driver was jumping out and running. The witness video captured the moment right before the impact. You can hear the guy filming saying that there's a little boy stuck on their own tracks. Then the train simply slams into it. But here's where it gets worse. After the train hit the track, it didn't just derail. It crashed into the Chamber of Commerce building, and one person died, with 4 injured. 3 of the train cars were also carrying potentially hazardous material, though authorities confirmed that there was no risk to the public. The footage is available online to watch, and you can see us showing it here too. Pecos isn't the only Texas town with crazy train footage. In March 2023, a train literally caught fire while traveling through Bryan, Texas. Houston Rail Production even uploaded footage to YouTube that has over 2 million views. The video shows a moving train with one of the engines completely consumed by flame, just rolling down tracks like it's no big deal. In College Station, firefighters extinguished the flame. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but imagine seeing that rolling through your town, which would be a massive locomotive on fire, still moving. The footage is absolutely surreal. If that wasn't enough, then there's the Odessa incident from 2023, where a pickup truck got absolutely demolished by a Union Pacific train. In Midland, another train met the same fate in 2022, though thankfully, the driver escaped in time. Near Fort Worth in December 2023, there was a semi-truck that got hit so hard that it actually took the train with it off the tracks. The train conductor survived with only minor injuries. This is Texas, where so many train collisions happen, and they never cease to amaze us. Georgia's cursed railroad crossing. Now let's talk about a railroad crossing that seems absolutely cursed the moment you look at it. Bartow County, Georgia, is where it happened. It was off Allatoona Road near Interstate 75. The crossing has seen 8 documented incidents since 2017. First, we had June, but in June 2024, another one happened. That time it was caught on video. You can see an 18-wheeler truck trailer stalled on the tracks. The driver realized what was happening and jumped out a second before a train obliterated his stuck. It was Jack Hatcher, who was driving right behind the stalled truck and captured everything on video. The footage shows the railroad crossing arms lowering. The train horn then starts blaring. The driver leaps out of the truck and runs for his life. A moment later, the train creates an impact, and you can see debris flying everywhere. The trailer then tumbles over, and Hatcher has to back up his own car to avoid getting hit by flying debris. Authorities even said the driver was driving a vehicle over a railroad crossing without sufficient space to completely clear it. Here's the thing. It keeps happening in the same spot. The turning radius near the tracks makes it really difficult for larger vehicles to navigate. Some trucks physically can make the turn, and then they end up on the tracks, only realizing late that they cannot do this anymore. Spain's high-speed disaster.
Collided near the rural town of Adamuz in southern Spain. As for what caused the crash, investigators can only say what this was not a high.
Not all train disasters are due to collisions, because sometimes trains themselves explode, and they just crash in a way that is catastrophic. First, let's look at July 24, 2013, when in Spain the Oliva high-speed train was traveling from Madrid to Ferrol when it approached a curve just outside the railway station. The train was going way too fast, and by that we mean a lot faster than usual. It was more than twice the posted speed limit. CCTV footage captured the entire disaster. The footage shows that all 13 train cars were derailing as the train rounded the curve at 179 kilometers per hour in an 80 kilometers per hour zone. 4 cars were completely overturned, 3 carriages were destroyed, and another one got fired. The rear generator car also burst into flames. 78 dead, 178 injured. It was Spain's worst accident in over 40 years and the second deadliest high-speed rail accident in history. The driver was Francisco José Garzón, who later admitted in court that he was distracted by a phone call from the train's ticket inspector. A media outlet even reported that a year before the crash, he would often post on Facebook bragging about high speeds, saying that it would be amazing to trigger high-speed cameras and get a fine. In July 2024, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for gross negligence. Do you think that is way too lenient a sentence that he got? Tell us in the comments below. Greece's deadliest train crash. On February 28, 2023, in Tempe Valley, Greece, a passenger train was full of university students heading home from holiday. However, it collided head-on with a freight train. A surveillance camera shows brutal footage of trains approaching before a massive flash of light came and a huge explosion happened. 57 people died and many were burned beyond recognition. And the fireball was so intense that some victims were never even identified. One victim was a 23-year-old named Irita, who is believed to have been in the canteen car, but no DNA match has ever been found. Amongst the reasons I remain, the cause was basic human error. The station master on duty allegedly allowed the passenger train to run on the same track as the freight train for several kilometers. CBS News has surveillance footage that Greek City Times first released, and it's absolutely horrifying. You can see the train approaching, then suddenly everything exploded in a blinding flash. Greece's transport minister resigned immediately, calling it the least he could do to honor the memory of the victim, and admitting that the railway system was in a state that doesn't really fit the 21st century. This tragedy sparked international protests to this day. 2 years later, in 2020, hundreds of thousands demonstrated in over 262 cities, calling for justice. Relatives of the victim have accused the Greek government of covering up evidence and even altering the crash site. New videos even emerged last year in January showing the freight train tunnels before the crash. This reignited public anger. The Tempe crash Wikipedia page and CBS News both have extensive coverage with the footage links. Indian triple train destruction.
At least 288 people were killed and more than 850 injured in a horrific 3-train collision in India, what officials have described as the country's deadliest rail accident in more than 20 years.
Then comes June 2nd, 2023, in the Balasore district in India. This wasn't a train crash. It was a 3-train pileup that became one of the deadliest railway accidents in the history of mankind. Here's how it happened. The Coromandel Express, which is a passenger train, collided with a stationary goods train at high speed. The impact was so severe that it killed 21. The 21 coaches derailed, and 3 of those derailed coaches then collided with an oncoming superfast express on the adjacent track. That train also derailed. The final death toll was so massive that you wouldn't believe it. Over 296 people died, with 1,200 injured. Aerial drone footage from the crash site shows absolute devastation. The train carriages were scattered across multiple tracks, with bodies lying beside wreckage. Rescue workers even climbed over destroyed coaches, trying to find the survivors. CNN, Al Jazeera, and Indian TV all have the footage of the site, but here's where it gets worse. The cause happened due to signaling failure. Railway officials suspected that it was either a technical malfunction or human error, but what makes it even worse is that a similar signaling error had been reported just 3 months earlier in February 2023, where a warning letter had already been sent, but nothing was done. Even the Auditor of India had warned in December 2022 that the railway tracks lagged in maintenance, staffing, and funding, and suffered from misuse of funds. These problems could impact maintenance quality, but those warnings were ignored. This is why 3 railway officials, 1 technician, and 2 signal engineers were eventually arrested and charged with culpable homicide and destruction of evidence. East Palestine.
Tonight we are learning new details about last year's massive derailment of a train car in East Palestine, Ohio. The train was carrying hazardous materials at the time, and tonight...
On February 3rd, the last one on our list happened in East Palestine, Ohio. This is one that made international headlines, terrified, and made an entire region shake. A Norfolk Southern freight train was carrying hazardous chemicals, and it derailed. 38 cars went off the track, and 11 of those cars contained flammable and combustible material, including vinyl chloride. Surveillance footage shows the timeline of this disaster about 20 miles before the crash. Cameras captured sparks flying from an overheated wheel bearing. The train, however, kept going. By the time the critical alarm sounded, indicating the bearing had already reached 253 degrees Fahrenheit, it was already too late. The crash was bad, but here is what made matters worse. Authorities feared that some tanker cars could explode, so they conducted a controlled release and burned off the chemicals. Body camera footage shows officers going door to door evacuating residents, and you can hear the urgency in their voices. The controlled burn created a massive black plume visible from space. T/He controlled burn is estimated to have affected 110 million people in 16 states, according to the research published in Environmental Research Letters. CNN also has surveillance video showing the moments leading up to the derailment. 2,000 residents were evacuated from there, and many reported headaches, rashes, and respiratory issues. These are some of the most brutal train track collisions. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to stay up to date with the world's greatest horrors, subscribe now.